Hello everyone. Today we are going to start with the second type of optoelectronic process, which is exciton absorption. So in our previous class we have discussed about the fundamental absorption process. So if you have not gone through it, first go through that class and then continue with this for easier understanding. So for understanding this, we need to know what actually is an exciton. So from the word we can just collect the term which is excitation. So whenever excitation takes place, which is found in fundamental absorption process, we can say that there are chances of formation of an exciton. So what actually is an exciton? Let us see. So the exciton absorption process will occur only after the fundamental transition take place. If there is no fundamental transition, it means that exciton absorption process cannot occur. So when a fundamental transition takes place, that is the electron which is present in valence band will absorb the energy from the incident photon and get excited to the conduction band only if the photon energy is greater than or equal to the energy gap. So after this transition, a free electron will be present in the conduction band, and as the result of transition, a hole which is free will be formed in the valence band, and somehow these two, electron and hole, which are free to move, they attract each other and they are going to form a bound state. They are not going to recombine, but just they are going to form a bound state. So we can say that it is something like a quasi-particle. So what do you mean by bound state? So here these two particles, that is a free electron and a free hole, they are going to revolve around each other, or precisely we can say that they revolve around the center of the mass. So such a bound state of electron and the hole which are free is referred to as an exciton. So if you just want to understand more easily, you can just see here. So the electron and a hole which is free to move after the fundamental transition, they just revolve with respect to their center of mass, that is nothing but the exciton. So this exciton concept was first proposed by Yakov Frankl in the year 1931. So he was a Russian physicist and he showed that the neutral excitations of a crystal by light is possible, and when that happens, with an electron remaining bound to the hole is created at the lattice side, and he identified this electron hole bound state as a quasi-particle named as exciton, because it was a result of excited electron because of which a hole is created. So here he proposed that this excited state is going to travel like a particle. As a particle is going to move, in the same manner the exciton also has its own particle-like fashion throughout the lattice, and the difference is that its net charge is not going to transfer. So whatever charge is there, it is going to depend on the spin of electron and hole, and electron and hole can have either parallel spin or anti-parallel spin. So based on the type of spin, the net charge is going to be decided, but that net charge is not going to get transferred. But in case this electron and hole recombines, so recombination of electron and hole, it is nothing but the decay of exciton. So in that case the exciton doesn't exist. We say it is decayed. And generally, exciton is said to have the wave functions like that of hydrogen atom. So when you compare the exciton with the hydrogen atom, we observe that the exciton binding energy is much smaller when compared to the hydrogen atom, and the particle size of the exciton is much larger than a hydrogen atom. So particle size means we are not considering electron or hole as separate. We are considering the size of the bound state which is acting as a quasi-particle. So the binding energy, it is having a range of approximately equal to 0.01 electron volt. So we can see that the exciton binding energy is very small. And if you just observe in the energy level diagram, let us consider the valence band and the conduction band. Then the exciton level just falls below the edge of the conduction band. So it is very close to the conduction band, but just or very slightly below the edge of the conduction band. So the exciton level is somewhat similar, or it lies in the neighborhood of the donor level. While studying the semiconductors and its type, we discussed about donor level as well as acceptor level. So in N-type semiconductor, we observe that the donor level, which is due to doping of an intrinsic semiconductor by pentavalent impurities, that level lies just below the conduction band. And we observe that the exciton level also lies near to it. So it is based on the binding energy of the particle present in that level. Then coming to the absorption process. So when a photon is incident on such a system, means already the fundamental absorption is completed and exciton is formed, then that exciton will absorb certain energy that is due to the photon which is incident on a system, which gives rise to exciton absorption, which has different application. So what should be the energy of photon for exciton absorption? That is nothing but the energy difference between the exciton level and the valence band, that is the electron which is present in the valence band. So it is nothing but h nu, the photon energy, should be equal to energy gap minus the exciton binding energy. So this much amount of energy is required for exciton absorption to take place. Next, coming to its absorption coefficient. So when you plot the absorption coefficient as a function of energy, for fundamental absorption we have a parabolic curve. But how it is going to change with respect to exciton absorption? So here the spectrum consists of a sharp line just falling slightly below the fundamental edge. So as we discussed in our previous class, under fundamental absorption process, when the energy is equal to the energy gap, the absorption will start, and the energy where the absorption just starts is nothing but the fundamental edge. And when the exciton absorption takes place just below the fundamental edge, we can observe a spike or a sharp line which is there in the graph as shown. So why it occurs? So when the interaction of excitons with impurities takes place, or any other defects or effects, this spike whatever is observed here, this spike is going to broaden. If impurities are less, the spike is going to be sharp. And if impurities are more, then spike will just broaden, which implies that the exciton is interacting with the impurities present in the semiconductor. Based on this, we can judge what amount of impurities are present in the semiconductor. Then the absorption of exciton introduces some complications into fundamental absorption spectrum, particularly near the absorption edge, and this is a disadvantage of exciton absorption, because we know that based on the excitation we get the fundamental edge, that is for the energy when the absorption start, that is equal to the energy gap. So based on the value of absorption edge, we can say that is the value for the energy gap, and because of the exciton we observe a spike at the fundamental edge itself. So in order to determine the energy gap, complication arises and there will be difficulty in determination of accurate value of energy gap of given semiconductor. So this is a disadvantage of exciton formation or exciton absorption. But what is the importance? So this exciton absorption is important in discussion of optical properties of especially insulators in ultraviolet region of the spectrum, and the first study by Frankel was done on insulators itself, where he proposed the concept of excitons when he was just at the age of 37. And the main importance of exciton absorption in semiconductors is that it is the main mechanism for light emission in semiconductors, especially at low temperature. At high temperature, because of the generation and recombination, there will be light emission. But when the temperature is low, there the light emission will be due to the exciton absorption itself. That is in case of semiconductors. Low temperature means the thermal energy which is given by kBT should be less than the exciton binding energy. For that case, we observe this application. So this is about exciton absorption process, where we studied about what actually is an exciton, what is the binding energy, what is the nature of graph for exciton absorption with respect to absorption coefficient as a function of energy, and what are the disadvantages as well as the significance of exciton absorption in case of semiconductors. So this is for today's class. Thank you.